Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing well this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, Your Honor.
Ms. Bridgewater, when is the SAP reset date?
April the 18th.
Okay, thank you. And courtroom 2, we are ready whenever you all are.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow.
Good afternoon. How are you doing this afternoon?
Pretty good, and yourself?
Glad that we finished up early this morning.
Yes, definitely.
Only you can do it.
And also, we missed you on yesterday, Judge Morrow.
It's always nice to be missed. Who do we have first?
It's going to be position number 1, Ms. Jasmine Brown.
Good afternoon, Ms. Brown. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, I agree.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, you've been charged in case 23 CR 002044J with theft by taking. Is there a history? Who do we have on? Mr. Howard,
First
good
arrest.
afternoon.
It was a pretrial recommendation.
Okay, very good. Good afternoon, Ms. Bickerstaff.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. So this incident occurred yesterday at about 10:30 in the morning at Loomis, that's located at 3635 South Industrial Parkway. Just a little background, Loomis is like the company that transfers money from businesses. Police, the officers arrived to the scene of the Loomis premises, and spoke with one of its employees, Mr. Brett Scott, and he stated that the defendant admitted to stealing money from the company, and it's on surveillance video that the defendant had been taking money and placing it in her sleeve for about 2 weeks worth of time. She stole $1,292, and she said that she took the money in order to pay her taxes. For this reason, Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 signature bond and to stay away from Loomis address at 3635 South Side Industrial Parkway.
Ms. Wills, is this your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objection to any of that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Industrial Parkway location, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Brown.
Judge, you said 3,000 SOB to the jail, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. Position 3, Burdette.
Good afternoon, Ms. Burdette. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Burdette. You've been charged in case 23 CR 002054G with simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
11 total, 2020 open case out of DeKalb County. Ag assault, possession of a firearm during a commission. 2013 battery DV, no load, disorderly conduct conviction. 2010 simple battery, disorderly conduct conviction. And a 04 simple battery conviction. That's it.
Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, so this incident occurred January 21st, 2023 at 201 Maury Avenue Southeast apartment or unit 515. And this is where the defendant jumped on to, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, Takaya Burdette. That's spelled Takaya Burdette. Jumped on her back and placed her hands around her neck in an attempt to strangle her. Our victim advocate did get a chance to speak with Ms. Takaya today, and she stated that the incident started because of her niece. The defendant and her niece got into a dispute, and the defendant, the niece called Ms. Takaya to come to the residence, Your Honor. The victim did state that She does not want to have any contact with the defendant, and she does not want her to come to the residence any longer. And the victim also stated that she has been harassed by the defendant after this incident took place, and that the defendant she believes that the defendant flattened her tires, and then she taunted her through text messages about that, Your Honor. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond. We're asking for a one-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Takaya Burdett, and to stay away from that 201 Maury Avenue Southeast address. Also, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And I would like to sound for Ms. Burdett if she's on the Zoom call.
I see it Sequoia. Yes, give me a moment, ma'am, please. Ms. Willis, would you like for, if Ms. Burdett would like to speak, would you like for her to speak first, or would you like your presentation first?
I would like to hear from Ms. Burdett, Your Honor.
Okay, so Ms. Takaya Burdett, and I know that you have Sequoia on your Zoom there. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. You do not have to address the court, but if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to raise your right hand for me, and I'll have to swear you in, okay?
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you can put your hand down, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I just want no contact, not for me, but also for my kids. Like, I've dealt with this on and off. My sister has anger issues that results in violence. Since this incident happened, I've had to get 2 more police reports. There's moments where me and my daughter would get like 25 text messages in a row on different days. Someone flattened my tire, came to my residence and flattened my tire. No one knew about it but the police. Because I filed a police report, I stayed 10 minutes away from her, all the way in Locust Grove. And she sent me stating that tires are flat, bitch. She has threatened both violence to me and my children. So it's just she has resorted to violence to myself and family members multiple times throughout just her life. And so that's for the safety of just me and my kids. I just would like no contact. I'm trying to live a productive life and, stay out of trouble. And she was, like I said, she has an anger issue. And that's the only thing she knows. It could be a simple disagreement. And on that particular day, it was my daughter and her daughter who wasn't getting along. Her daughter was at my daughter's residence after I asked her not to be. I went to the residence because my name is on the lease that day. My daughter's name as well, and I asked her daughter to leave. I told her she welcome in my house, but because her and my daughter was not getting along, she was not allowed over there. My niece became, I then called the police to escort her off the property. At that time, my niece called her father to come and fight me, as well as my sister, who both came. Her father, his friend, and my sister came over to fight. And that's when my nieces jumped on my daughter, who had just had a miscarriage the day prior. My sister then jumped on my back. I called the police, made a report. We started getting harassing calls from probably about 15 different females. And like I said, my sister, she sent me like 25 text messages on 2-3 different days, threatening to fight, more violence. When she sees she want to fight, she's giving her kids permission to fight. That's why your tires are flat. I had to get a security system also, which I paid over $1,000 for, installed in my house just after the incident with my tires.
So your daughter lives at the Maury Avenue address?
I moved her away temporarily because of all the threats she was getting from my sister, my nieces.
Okay, well, I just want to know that because I want to know where Miss Crystal Burnett is to stay away from. So are you telling me that someone lives at the Maury Avenue address where Miss Crystal Burnett should not be going?
Correct, and I live in Henry.
Okay, so tell me who lives there at that address?
My daughter, Italy Burdett.
ITALY?
Mhm.
Okay, anything further, ma'am?
I want her to stay away. I live in Henry County, which is probably about 15 minutes away from her at 224 Sabershire.
What's the 224?
Sable Shire, SABLE SHIRE Way, Locust Grove, Georgia, 30248. And I have
Okay.
reports from there.
All right, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. Ms. Wills?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is 39 years old. This incident did occur back in January. Ms. Burdett states that she is from Georgia. She has a high school diploma. She adamantly denies these allegations. It states that her sister made a false report and that law enforcement did not speak to my client to get her side prior to her being arrested. Ms. Burdett also states that she has several witnesses. However, at this time, we do not have any objection to no contact with the alleged victim or with her daughter. And we would request a signature bond as my client is unemployed.
Okay, it's gonna be a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Takaya Burdett or Italy Burdett. Stay away from the Maury Avenue address and the Sable Shire Way address in Locust Grove. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Ms. Burdett, just so that I know that I've made it clear to you what no contact means. No contact means absolutely no contact. Obviously, no physical contact, but no phone contact, no internet contact, no texting, no contact over social media, no contact whatsoever until this matter is resolved. You understand me?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Good luck to you, ma'am. All of you. Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Falk.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. We just learned from the jail that Mr. McCormick, who is position 8 on the calendar, has additional charges. We are trying to work those up as quickly as possible so that we can address them today. However, he is reset for tomorrow in case we are not able to get this done in time.
Okay, and those additional charges, Ms. Kim, do you represent Mr. McCormick?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so if you get those worked up, we can do it today. I guess if you don't, there's not going to be a Riverside issue and we can handle it tomorrow.
It will not be, Your Honor. He was just arrested on these. The warrants were actually put on him today for these charges from an incident yesterday. So
Okay.
I will work as quickly as possible, though, to try to get these both addressed. I'll go ahead and email them to Ms. Kim as well, so she's aware of the new charges.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Falk. Who do we have next?
Position 4, Crenshaw.
Good afternoon, Ms. Crenshaw. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video to help prevent the spread of the virus. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Crenshaw, you've been charged in case 23 CR 002046F with driving without a valid license. Ms. Bickerstaff, are you going to oppose a signature bond on this charge?
No, I'm not. The states, we're asking for a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services. And we're also asking for no driving without a valid license as well, Your Honor.
Okay. It's going to go through the jail. Ms. Willis, any objection to any of that?
No objection to a signature bond.
Okay, so a $3,000 signature bond through the jail and obviously no driving without a valid license, Ms. Crenshaw. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 5, Gilmore.
I believe they're requesting a breakout on position number 5. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct, please.
Okay, who needs to be in that breakout room? Ms. Bickerstaff, Ms. Falk, Ms. Kim, Ms. Wills, myself, Ms. Bridgewater. Okay, let's see. Ms. Gilmore, I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video, ma'am?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 002043F for simple battery, family violence, and disorderly conduct. I've had an opportunity to speak with your counsel and with the state regarding these charges, and the bond is going to be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, with the provision that you're only to be released into DFACS custody. So someone's going to, from DFACS, is going to have to come and get you before you are able to get out of custody. You're to have no further contact with Ms. Morgan or Ms. Bray, and you're to stay away from the Town Lakes Drive address. It is also ordered that after DFACS is able to come and get you, that at some point they retrieve your belongings from the Town Lakes Drive address also. You're to have no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons while out on bond. Okay. All right. Good luck to you, Ms. Gilmore.
Thank you.
How much is that?
It's going to be $2,000 for the simple battery, $1,000 for the disorderly conduct, signature through the jail.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 6, Hodges. Hodges.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hodges. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Hodges, you've been charged in case 23 CR 002047C with simple battery, family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest, 2014 battery out of Louisiana. That's all I saw.
Okay. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes. So, Your Honor, this incident occurred on March the 7th, 2023, I'm sorry, at about 11:30 p.m. And this is where officers arrived at 2135 Niskey Lakes Road in response to a dispute between the defendant and Miss Destiny Douglas. Miss Douglas informed the officers that she had recently broke up with the defendant, but the defendant still had access to the home. And so then the defendant asked Miss Douglas, could they discuss the breakup? And Miss Douglas told him she didn't want to, that she didn't want to see him anymore. And that's when the defendant became angry and began striking her in the head, and he pulled her hair, and then he left the residence, Your Honor. The defendant and Miss Douglas, they do have 3 children together. And we spoke to Ms. Douglas today, and she said that this was the first time that an incident like this took place between the two. Your Honor, for these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness. We're asking for no further contact with Destiny Douglas, a third-party escort for the children, and to stay away from the 2135 Niskey Lakes Road address. Also, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Yes, Ms. Will.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hodges is 26 years old. He states that he has resided in Georgia for the past 6.5 years. He is employed at Six Flags. He has 2 stepchildren and 3 biological children, all of whom reside in his home and he cares and provides for. As it was stated, he only has 1 prior arrest. This occurred when Mr. Hodges was still in high school, and he states that that charge was dismissed. That was out of Louisiana. And I have had the opportunity to speak with Ms. Douglas. Her position is that she would like for Mr. Hodges to be able to return home. She is still there taking care of all 5 children alone. And so she would like to continue to have contact. I asked that she join, but I don't know that she was able to log into the Zoom. But in light of this being my client's second arrest and him having no prior convictions, I would ask for a signature bond.
When did you speak to her, Ms. Wills?
I spoke with her today.
Her request was that, does he live at the Miskey Lakes Road address with them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Bickerstaff, when did your investigator or advocate speak with?
Yes, our advocate spoke with Ms. Douglas today. She did tell our advocate that she didn't mind having contact with him. And it was okay for him to return to the address. We just want to make sure, the state just wants to make sure it's been an adequate cooling off period. I know it's been almost a month, but we just don't want anything like this to happen again.
Okay. It's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Destiny Douglas, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hodges.
What was that contact? Was it no further?
No further violent contact.
Okay, thank you.
Position 10, Riddick.
Good afternoon, Ms. Riddick. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
I concur.
I'm sorry, say it again, ma'am.
I agree.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Riddick, you've been charged in case 23 CR 002050H with battery, family violence, and willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, I didn't write down the total arrest. She got an open giving false name, open hit and run, says hit and run second offense, and driving within emergency lane out of Clayton County. She does have a hold out of Clayton. I think it's an FTA round or something. I'm not sure. That's it.
Good afternoon, Mr. Agbe.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thank you. This offense date took place on April 2nd, 2023 at 301 Maple Street, Hateville, Georgia. Officers responded to a physical fight call that they met with a woman who identified herself as Cecily Wallace. She stated that her sister, Jasmine Watson, had a verbal altercation with her boyfriend. While on the scene, officers ran the name provided and they got back no results. Officers asked repeatedly what the defendant name was, and she insisted that it was Cecily Wallace. Officers then detained the defendant, and that is when she admitted that she was actually the one fighting with her sister, and that her sister was hiding inside the primary bedroom. Officers located the victim in this case, Miss Jasmine Watson, and she had a visible laceration on her arm. Another witness explained to officers that the defendant, who was later identified as Chastity Reddick, had jumped on Miss Watson and pushed her into a chair. Miss Watson explained that they were fighting over something being stolen, and Miss Reddick had no apparent injuries on her, while Miss Watson did. It wasn't until being booked in that it was identified as Miss Chastity Reddick, Your Honor. These two individuals, the victim and the defendant, do live at the same house. They are, according to them, stepsisters. We try to reach out to Miss Watson. We were unsuccessful today trying to get in contact with her. We have concerns about intimidation of the witness with them living together. Also, the nature of it. We also have some concerns about how the defendant may respond to legal orders with this, which could have been, his charges of obstruction could have been charged as giving false information, and then a open giving false information as well. The state's recommendation in this case is a $2,000 surety for count 1, a $500 surety on the count 2 obstruction, no further contact with the victim, and to stay away from the incident location.
Tell me the name of the victim again, please, Mr. Agbe.
The name of the victim is Jasmine. That's spelled Jasmine, Watson.
Okay.
And Your Honor, we haven't had the opportunity to speak with Ms. Watson, but we would ask that she would be sounded for if she happens to be on the call.
Ms. Watson, if you are on the call, I'll give you the opportunity to speak. If you choose to, you do not have to, but if you would like to speak, you will have that opportunity. Jasmine Watson on the line? Doesn't appear so, Mr. Agbe. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Chastity Reedy is 32 years old, and she was born and raised here in Georgia, and she resides with her father and stepsister. She is okay with no further contact and stay away order because she has another place that she can go to. She's gainfully employed at UPS. She does sort mails, and she graduated from high school and also 2 years of college certification for auto mechanic. And she's been very working hard for her work, and she does not want to lose her job. We would like to request for a signature on bond since my client denies the allegation, and we are completely fine with the stay away. Thank you.
Does she need a one-time escort to the Maple Street address, Ms. Kim? Does she have any
Yes.
belongings there?
Yes, she does.
Okay. For the battery, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. For the obstruction, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, which makes a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, 1-day anger awareness. No further contact with Ms. Watson. Stay away from the Maple Street address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that she might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Okay. Good luck to you, Ms. Riddick. You're welcome.
For position 8, are we holding off on position 8?
I believe so, because I think that that's the one that they're trying to work up the additional charges on. And so if they do, we'll complete that today. If not, we'll postpone it until tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Position 7, Mr. King.
Good afternoon, Mr. King. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Can you hear me, Mr. King?
Yes.
Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 002042J with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr.? I'm being told by pretrial that this is his first arrest. Ms. Bickerstaff.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred today, early this morning, and at 820 West Marietta Street Northwest. And this is where officers arrived there, and where the defendant and Mr. Hamilton Carter, they lived together, and at the time they were in a relationship, and a dispute ensued over loud music playing where the defendant became upset, Your Honor. And this is where Mr. Carter refused to turn the music down. And so the defendant unplugged like the speaker where the music was coming out of. And so when Mr. Carter confronted the defendant then slammed Mr. Carter to the ground, causing him to believe he broke his arm. And he also sustained an injury to his lip where officers observed it was bleeding when they arrived. Because of this, Your Honor, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond. We're asking for a 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Mr. Hamilton Carter, and to stay away from that 820 West Marietta Street address, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Did you hear my question, Ms. Bickerstaff?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Did your office have the opportunity to speak with Mr. Carter?
No, we could not get in touch with Mr. Carter today, Your Honor. So I don't believe he's on the Zoom call. We weren't able to get in contact with him.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Wells?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. King is 25 years old. He states that he is no longer in a relationship with the alleged victim. He has no desire or intent to return to the residence. And he told me that the alleged victim, Mr. Carter, in this case, attempted to jump from their 5th-story balcony. And any injuries that occurred because my client was attempting to prevent him from harming or killing himself by jumping off of the balcony. It was also Mr. King who called the police as a result of what occurred. Again, we don't have any objection to Mr. King not having contact with Mr. Carter. We would request a signature bond. This is Mr. King's first arrest. And again, he was attempting to help Mr. Carter and prevent him from hurting himself.
He doesn't need to go back to that Marietta Street address for anything, Ms. Wills?
I believe he would, so we would request a one-time police escort.
Okay, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge. No further contact with Mr. Carter. Stay away from the Marietta Street address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he might have there. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. King.
Position 2, Brown.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brown. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Good afternoon, yes, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Brown. You've been charged in case 23 CR 002045Y with criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third arrest, 2014 battery DV, first offender. 2016 ag assault, first offender. That's it.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, this incident occurred December 8th, 2022 at 1030 Mays Hill Street. And this is where officers arrived and spoke to Miss Keisha Person. Keisha is Keisha Person. They spoke to Miss Person, who advised that the defendant does not live at her residence, but he was there and he damaged one of her doors near the garage. He did this by kicking the door and then he left the scene. Your Honor, we were able to speak with Miss Person today, and the defendant and Miss Person, they have 3 children together. She did let us know that she's not in fear of him, but the defendant has been violent with her in the past. And I'm sorry, Your Honor, that's actually the wrong information. This is solely, he just kicked the door in, Your Honor, in her garage. I apologize about that. But for these reasons, we're asking for a $1,500 surety bond and to stay away from the 1030 Mays Hill Street, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Ms. Person, I see you there. If you would like to address the court regarding this matter, now is your opportunity to do so. You, of course, do not have to address the court, but if you would like to, I need for you to activate your camera, unmute yourself, and I'll need to swear you in, okay? It doesn't appear that Ms. Person would like to address the court. Ms. Wills?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Brown is 30 years old. As it was stated, this incident happened back in December, and there have not been any other incidents or arrests since that time. Mr. Brown is from Georgia. He is employed by Bimbo Bakeries. He has no children and a high school diploma. He states that he does not live with the victim. He has no objection to not having in contact with the alleged victim. And his last arrest was in 2015. And he only has 2 prior arrests. And so for that reason, and this is a property, a damage to property case. And so for those reasons, we would request a signature bond.
Okay. It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. Person. Stay away from the Mays Hill Street address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Brown.
Position 13, Circuit.
Pronounce your last name for me, sir.
Circuit.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 002051F with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
He got a couple of open shopliftings on probation for ag assault out of Forsyth, Georgia. 2015, they gave him 10 years probation for that. 2017 probation, 2021 parole violation, 2021 trespass. Last arrest was in October for the shoplifting, Georgia State. Got ag assault, simple battery from 2017. 2017 shoplifting conviction. 2016 probation. 2016 shoplifting arrest. Another 2016 shoplifting arrest. Probation, 2015. Another one from 2015. He got a lot of violence. I see a death by taking conviction from 2010. I'll leave it at that.
Hey, Mr. Agbe.
Thank you, Your Honor. This offense date took place on October 28th, 2022 at the Walgreens located right by Georgia State University at 25 Peachtree Street Southwest in Atlanta. There was officer was stopped by an off-duty officer working security for the Walgreens on Peachtree Street. The off-duty officer stated that he observed the defendant taking items and trying to leave the store without paying. The items included various tooth care items and several food items. The total amount of items taken and not paid for equaled $227.66. Your Honor, like pretrial stated, there's been 2 prior theft by shoplifting convictions. There's been several other theft-related offenses that wouldn't fall into the category of shoplifting, but are still thefts. And there's also some concerning violent crimes, Your Honor. The state's recommendation in this case is a $1,500 surety bond on count 1 to stay away from the Walgreens located at 25 Peachtree Street Southwest, and to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while under supervision or while being supervised.
And Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Eddie Circuit is 35 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. After 9th grade in the high school, he could not complete GED yet. And at this point, he is residentially challenged. He has been challenged for about 3 months. So I am definitely sending out social worker services. He does not have a phone, and his unemployment has been more than 4 months. He has no financial means to pay for any bond, and he does not have anybody who can help him out to get out of the jail. So any bond will become no bond for him. And we would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, maximum $500 good bond. Thank you.
Mr. Agbe or Mr. Howard, are either of those other 2 open shoplifting cases in Fulton County?
Oh, one of them is for sure. I had a case number. Hold on. Oh, what's in the file? Hold on. I got 22 CR 007 429F. And one of them was a 2020 shoplifting. It got a COVID case number attached to it.
Okay, and they're both in Fulton County?
Correct.
All right. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
I would like to see if I can get all of these 3 cases possibly on the SAP calendar on the 18th.
Sure.
So maybe we can resolve them all at that time. That will give you the opportunity to have a social worker go down and visit him. I'm going to give him $1,000 good bond, order a social worker visit to see if we can help him with placement. He to stay away from the Walgreens on Peachtree Street, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. So if he does not make bond by that time. I'd like to see if we can address all these cases at once, okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right, and I'll be on that calendar, so I will remember him.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Scarrett.
Position 12, Stanford.
Good afternoon, Mr. Stanford. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 002052H with criminal trespass and possession and use of drug-related objects. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
35 total. On probation, criminal damage to property, second degree, 2 counts. It's 20 SC 176977. On probation in Cobb County for trespass. He was arrested twice in 2022, probation violation. Once for FTA, criminal trespass, 2021 trespass. Trespass and transmitting false report of a fire alarm, that was a conviction. 2020 criminal damage to property, that's the probation he's on. That's it.
Mr. Agri?
Yes, Your Honor. This offense took place yesterday, April 3rd, 2023 at 2419 Cheshire Bridge Road in Atlanta, Georgia. Officers got a call about a person entering a vacant commercial building. The location is a former Regions Bank. The caller stated that they saw a male enter the building through a front window. From outside of the building, officers responded and were able to get into the building because the front window glass was broken. When they came inside, they announced themselves and told anyone who was inside to produce themselves. Mr. DeMarcus Stanford then produced himself to the officers. Officers inquired to see if there was anyone else within the building. He stated there was no one else. Where the officers found Mr. Stanford, there was also a green bag, and within hands reach from that green bag and for where they found the defendant, they also found a pipe that appeared to have just recently been used. There was still residue, and there were still smudge marks or burnt marks as if it had just recently been used. There was no one else inside of the building. The building was very clearly marked as a private property, do not trespass. Your Honor, with the defendant's history, the state does obviously have some reservations about giving a signature bond, but the state is inclined to offer a signature bond and asking that it also be monitored through pretrial. The state's recommendation is for count 1, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial. On count 2, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial. To stay away from that location, that 2419 Cheshire Bridge Road, and to have no alcohol or drugs or weapons while out on bond.
Ms. Kim, is there a housing issue?
Yes, there is.
Okay, I'd like a social worker visit also. I take it that you don't have any objections to the signature bonds through pretrial?
I don't have any objection, Your Honor.
Okay, so it's going to be a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial on each count, which makes for a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, a social worker visit to help establish housing, no further. Stay away from the Cheshire Bridge Road address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Mr. Stanford, I'm going to see if I can get you some help with finding yourself some housing. And but if I let you out, you're going to have to make sure that you return on your court date. Mr. Wolf, I don't know who you are there, but I'm happy to hear from you. Okay.
Yes. Hi, I work with PAD. I'm a care navigator. And I actually, I'm assigned to work with DeMarcus Stanford. I do have extensive record working with him over several years working with PAD as his care navigator. And DeMarcus does have a voucher that we're working with through Grady. So he does have a voucher in hand. So he does have several options for his housing to choose from. So it's just right now we're just waiting on the property to approve as far as his unit right now. So he's working with two alternative programs, one called Step Up and the other one is called Partners for Home.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Wolf. We appreciate
You're welcome.
that.
Thank you.
And so I guess we don't need a social worker visit, Ms. Kim, given that Mr. Wolf is here and is working with Mr. Stanford already. And also, again, Mr. Stanford, make sure that you appear for the next your next hearing date. Otherwise, they're going to put a bench warrant out for you. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Stanford.
All right.
And thank you, Mr. Wolf.
Position 9.
Thank you too as well.
You're welcome.
Position 9, Pinky.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Pinkney. Is it Pinkney? Mr.
It's Pinckney.
Pinkney, good afternoon, sir. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Pinkney, you've been charged in case 23 CR 002048Y with criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
7 total. He got an open battery DV in Douglas. Open robbery by snatch in Clayton County. Fleeing, attempt to elude, possession of marijuana with intent. Possession of a Schedule 1 or 2 with intent. Attempting to misrepresent tag, reckless driving. Hit and run. Driving on the wrong side of the road. Failure to report, striking fixed object and obstruction. Ag assaults on a peace officer and obstruction, and a 2022 battery DV arrest.
Mr. Agnew?
Thank you, Your Honor. This offense date took place on October 18th, 2022 at 2900 Camp Creek Parkway here in Atlanta, Georgia. Officers responded to the apartment of Mr. Braxton Wilkins. He stated that the defendant, Curtis Pinkney, arrived at his apartment looking for his girlfriend, Kanal Thomas. She was inside of the apartment. Defendant Pinkney started banging on the door. Ms. Thomas refused to come outside. At the refusal of Mr. Pinkney, he began then kicking in the front door to the point of damaging the front door and its hinges. After he kicked in the front door, Mr. Pinkney fled the scene. Your Honor, I was able to contact with Douglas County, this pending family violence battery from 2022. The same victim is in this case, Ms. Kanal Thomas. She's the victim in that case as well. That's an open case, family violence battery. We have some some concerns, obviously, with a risk of intimidation. This was a violent act to come in and bang on somebody's door. And also with his open charges right now, Your Honor, the state will be requesting on the criminal trespass damage a $3,000 surety bond. No further contact with the victims, in this case, Kanal Thomas and Mr. Braxton Wilkins. That's spelled Braxton, BRAXTON, Wilkins, WILKINS. The Miss Kanal Thomas, that's spelled CANALTHOMAS. To stay away from the incident location and to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Could you tell me what that location is again, Mr. Agnew?
Yes, Your Honor. It is 2900 Camp Creek Parkway, Atlanta, Georgia. That's an apartment complex.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Pinkney is 24 years old, and he's been here in Georgia for about 20 years. They do not live together. The complaining witness and my clients, they do not live together. And even the Kanal Thomas, who is baby mother, they don't live together at this point. They have one child together. So we would like to request for a third party transfer for a child. And my client has been gainfully employed as a tint and also spot and cleaners car wash. He does tinting and car wash. He's been doing that for about 2 years. And he also went to college for 1 year. We would like to request for a signature on bond, and yet, if your honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond for each one. And your honor, we have no objection to stay away and no further contact.
You say that he does have children with Ms. Thomas?
Yes, one.
Okay, so it's gonna be $1,000 good bond, no further contact with the alleged victims, Ms. Thomas and Mr. Wilkins. Stay away from the Camp Creek Parkway apartment address. Third-party transfer for visitation of any minor children, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Pinckney.
I appreciate it, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
Position 11, Springer.
And I think they're also ready with Mr. McCormack.
That's even.
Good afternoon, Mr. Springer. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Springer, you've been charged in case 23 CR 002049G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, 8th arrest. Last arrest was back in March for simple battery out of the cab. That's open. 2018, possession of tools, criminal trespass, theft by taking, entering auto conviction. 2016, probation. 2013, felony shoplifting conviction. That's it.
Mr. Agbe?
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, this incident took place on April 2nd, 2023 at 720 Donald Lee Howell Parkway, Northwest in Atlanta, Georgia. Officers responded to a domestic violence dispute. There they met with the victim in this case, Nadia Burke, that's spelled Nadia Burke, Burke, who stated that her and her ex-boyfriend, who she has been living with, got into a physical altercation. She stated that on that day, Mr. Springer texted her asking if they could meet. She didn't respond at first. Then Mr. Springer's daughter texted her asking Ms. Burke to at least speak to the defendant. She agreed and went to Mr. Springer's job to speak with him. While speaking to Mr. Springer, the conversation turned physical, and the defendant grabbed her by her shirt and pushed her to the ground where her head hit the floor. The defendant also grabbed her chain off her neck and threw her phone against the wall. Officers arrived once Ms. Burke was able to get free of the defendant and go to the gas station next door and call the police. Officers observed bruises to the victim's legs, arms, back, with multiple contusions to her neck, legs, and stomach. Your Honor, that open case in DeKalb County for family violence battery is with the same victim, is with the same Ms. Nadia Burke. That is still out there. He was out on bond when this happened. We did have the chance to speak to Ms. Burke, and she stated that she wanted no contact with him and that she feared for her life. She had to go to the hospital as a result of these injuries, Your Honor. The state's recommendation in this case is on the family violence battery is a $5,000 cash bond, no further contact with the victim, a 1-day anger awareness, no alcohol or drugs or weapons while out on bond.
You don't happen to know, Mr. Agbe, if there was a stay away order in that DeKalb County case, do you?
I confirmed with the DeKalb County case, the order was a no further violent contact. I've spoken to Ms. Burke. She's in the process of taking out a TPO against the defendant.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Kim?
I believe there is a Miss Nadia here at the screen, so may we have her testimony first?
Yes, Ms. Burke, if you're on the call and would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Of course, you do not have to, but if you would like to address the court, I'll need for you to activate your camera, unmute yourself, and I'll have to swear you in. Would you like to address the court, Ms. Burke?
Yes.
Okay, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can put your hand down, ma'am. Thank you. What would you like to tell the court?
Okay, well, this is not me and Brian's first time having incidents with physical abuse, but this time that has gotten very, very much out of hand. Mr. Springer and also his daughter, I do believe that that was a setup thing for both of them to do that for me, because beforehand we had no issues. The children still stay in the home. His two children stay in the home with us, which are both adults, and I have a 9-year-old that stay here. However, him and his children have been making idle threats. One of his children has also had the mom come over to the home, and it has never happened before. I'm in the process of moving. However, it is very uncomfortable for me to be here with my daughter. And I'm very much terrified of my life with Brian, because like I said, it has never gotten physical like this. It has gotten, like I said, I've got proof of marks on my face and things like that. Both our families know. However, the incident that just happened, that was too brutal, and I was too much in fear for my life.
Okay. Anything further, ma'am?
Right now, no, as like they stated, I already filed the TPO order. I do plan to press charges because I don't have my phone, I don't have my chain, and they won't let me go in there to try to get it because they told me it was an active crime scene. It takes a while to get a warrant. So I want him, his children, his family, whoever around to stay away from me and my daughter completely.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're
Ms.
welcome.
Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to say Mr. Springer is 47 years old, Your Honor. He was born in Florida, but he has been here in Georgia about 15 years in and out. He has been working as a towing driver. He's gainfully employed at Redland Towing Transport. After 11th grade, he completed GED. And Your Honor, my client has a totally different story, and he believes that it was her retaliation because he tried to evict her from the place that they were living together. And how
I can't hear you, Ms. Kim. Is it me or is it you?
No, I can't hear.
Oh, okay, thank you. Speak again, Ms. Kim, to see if we can hear you.
try to be closer.
Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay, so he does not reside with Miss Nadia Burker, and he tried to evict her from 1841 Wendell Way, and that's what caused Miss Nadia Burker to be very upset, and he does not.
It's Burke. It's Burke. Last name Burke. Burke.
Sorry about that. Thank you. He does not go to 1841 Wanda Way just to stay away from her. However, it was her who came to his work, his job, 726 Donna Lee, Hollowell Parkway, which that's his workplace, Your Honor. If he has to stay away from that location, it's kind of like staying away from his livelihood. So we would like to request for stay away from wherever she is, however, not from his work. We would like to request for a signature on bond. And yet, if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, we would like to request for maximum $1,000 good bond. And my client has no objection to stay away, except stay away from her location, her residency, and no further contact with her. Thank you.
Well, and Mr. Agbe, what is the stay away address that you're seeking?
Your Honor, I would have to get that address from Ms. Burke herself. This incident took place at the defendant's work. So Ms. Burke, is there a location that you would like as your residency that you would like for the defendant to stay away?
Well, I don't go to his workplace at all, so I don't care nothing about his workplace. Like they stated before, and like I stated within the
Okay, so Ms.
police
Burke, Ms.
report,
Burke,
that
Ms.
him
Burke,
and
Ms.
his.
Burke, Ms. Burke, hold on a second. The only question that's before you is where do you want him to stay away? Do you have a residence address that you need for him to stay away from?
Oh, yes, 1841 Wandaway, Ellenwood, Georgia.
1841,
Mm-hmm.
what's the next
Wandaway,
part?
Georgia. Wandaway, Ellenwood, Georgia.
Yes, Your Honor. Wanda, that's WANDA, Way, WAY, Ellenwood, Georgia, 30294.
Okay, and is that your current residence? Is that where you're moving from, Ms. Burke?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, you were saying that you were leaving a location. Is this the location that you were leaving? Are you gonna go to another location, or is this the location that you
Yes,
went to?
yes, Mr. Brian was upset about me not leaving in a timely manner that he wanted me to.
Okay, all right, thank you, ma'am. So,
You're
so Ms. Kim, Mr. Springer is not gonna be able to go back to that Wandaway address until Ms. Burke has vacated. So he can go back there on one occasion with law enforcement to either retrieve any belongings or to see if she has moved out. If she has moved out, he can go back. If she has not, he'll have to retrieve
He
his
don't have any
belongings.
belongings here. He already removed them from the first incident when he had simple battery with DeKalb County. He don't have any belongings here.
Okay. I understand that you're saying that, Ms. Burke. I'm still going to allow him to come back with law enforcement on one occasion, either to retrieve belongings, and if you're not there, then he can take up residence there. So it's going to be a $5,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Burke. Stay away from the Wandaway address. He can go back on one occasion to see if either Ms. Burke has departed that residence. If she has, he can stay there. If she has not, he'll have to find someplace else to reside. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. And just so that I know that I've told you, Mr. Springer, what no contact means. No contact means absolutely no contact. No personal contact for sure, no phone contact, no texting, no social media contact, the Facebook, Twitter, whatever else there is. You cannot have any contact with Ms. Burke at this time. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Oh, all right, very good. Good luck to you all.
Position 8, McCormick.
Good afternoon, Mr. McCormick. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir, I'm fine.
Thank you. Let's see. Mr. McCormack, you have been charged in case 23 CR 002053D with battery family violence, and in case 23 CR 002055D with possession, use of drug-related objects, and giving false name. Is there a history?
34 cycles. You got an open case in Superior Court, possession of meth, possession of drug-related objects, 19 SC 168061. History out of Georgia and Florida. Last arrest was back in August, probation violation out of Clayton County. Before that was a probation out of Gwinnett for a CWAC charge. 2021 failure to appear. 2020, he had a failure to register. Reckless conduct 2019 probation. Conviction, I'm sorry. It was accrued 10 seconds. 2016, another failure to, and another one. 2012 probation. Last arrest in Florida. Oh, that's all. 2001 probation. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Agbe?
Yes, Your Honor. We'll start with the first case.
Okay.
Your Honor, the offense date of this took place on yesterday, April 3rd, 2023 at 529 Huntington Place Huntington Place, Roswell. Officers responded to a location for domestic dispute. Officers then made contact with the victim in this case, Miss Jennifer McCormick. She stated that her husband came to her house and was going through her closet. When she confronted him, he threatened to pop her, and then he headbutted her and punched her in the face. Officers observed visible cut to her lip. She stated that her husband comes and goes to this address, and while they've been estranged since 2008, that they are still legally married. Your Honor, the defendant in this case does have what appears to be some open cases. It has several probation violations. We have a major concern about his responsiveness to the legal process, considering his several probation violations, all for similar offenses, failing to register. There's also the worry of intimidation of the witness with them being married, and that his multiple criminal trespass charges. Your Honor, the state's recommendation for this on the family violence battery is a $4,000 surety, no further contact with the victim, Jennifer McCormick, a stay away from the address at 529 Huntington Place in Roswell, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Have you spoken with Ms. McCormick?
You know, I don't believe that we were able to make contact with her today. Let me just quickly double check, Your Honor. No, Your Honor, we have not had the ability to speak to Ms. McCormick today.
Okay. And your presentation on the other two charges?
Yes, Your Honor. When the officers arrived, Mr. McCormick was not still at the location. He was later pulled over, Your Honor. And when he was pulled over, he was pulled over for having a no tail light and no license plate on his car. Their officers made contact with the defendant, and he provided a name of Mr. Brian Borg with a birthday of February 16th, 1987. Officers ran that and got no hits. It was at that time that they detained the defendant while doing a search incident to arrest. They did find 4 glass pipes containing white powdery residue and a black burnt substance within the vehicle. Your Honor, that's the basis for the charges. The state's recommendation for the second case is for count 1, giving false information to law enforcement officers, a $1,000 surety. On count 2, drug-related objects, a $1,000 surety, for a total of a $6,000 surety over the 2 cases, with the same conditions, no further contact with the victim and staying away from the incident location, and no alcohol or drugs or weapons while out on bond.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. McCormick is 50 years old and he was born in Florida, but he has been here in Georgia ever since 2000. Your Honor, he has no objection to no further contact and stay away from Miss Jennifer. He is going to have no place to go because he was evicted from a previous location where he was residing. He is a veteran. He served at Marine Corps from 1989 to 1992, and he was discharged in honorable manner. And he is declared as a veteran disabled because of the accident that he was involved in. Also, he's checked since he cannot work due to his disability. He gets a workers' compensation and disability check, which was stopped. So he does not have a lot of financial resources at this point. So we would like to request for lower bond. We understand that signature bond might be a little too much stretch, and yet we would like to request for $1,000 good bond for each charge, totaling $3,000 good bond. That's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, so for the battery, it's gonna be a $2,000 good bond. For each of the other two charges, it's gonna be a $500 good bond, making for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. McCormack. Stay away from the Huntington Place address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Does he need to retrieve any belongings from that address, Ms. Kim?
Yes, just one time, Your Honor.
Okay, one-time law enforcement escort to retrieve any belongings that you might have at that address, Mr. McCormack. All right, good luck to you, sir.
That's fine.
We're completed here in courtroom 2, Judge.
All right, thank you so much. See you next
Thank
time.
you.
I'll see, I guess, Thursday.
Okay, have a good one, be safe.
Yes, you be safe also. Thank you as well. Okay, let's see, Ms. Bridgewater,
Yes, sir.
whenever
Are we
you are
ready?
ready.
Okay. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be April the 18th. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 2 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position 4, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 5 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 6, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 7, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 8 is reset to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. And the second case that he has is going to be reset SAP with a total $1,000 good bond. Position 9 is going to the SAP calendar with the $1,000 good bond. Position 10, reset further notice with a $3,000 total SOB through pretrial per judge. 11 is going to the SAP calendar with a $5,000 good bond. Position 12 is a $2,000 SOB total through pretrial. And position 13 is reset to the SAP calendar with the $1,000 good bond. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Now, number 12, you could put per judge or per state, either or. It was their recommendation, so. That's it.
For position number 10,
Hold on, let me address Mr. Howard first. Judge, do you want to step in and say?
It's all you, Ms. Bridgewater. It's gonna be through the judge.
Judge,
You're fine, that's fine, Ms. Bridgewater.
okay.
Yes, Mr. Agbe.
what was the total amount for position number 10, Chastity Reddick?
But the total for her was a $3,000 total SOB through pretrial per judge, $2,000 on the first charge and $1,000 on the second.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are there any others?
All right, well, thank you all, I appreciate it. I will see you back on Thursday.
Thank you,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right, take care, everybody.
Your Honor,
All right.
really quickly.
Yes, Ms. Paul, yes.
I'm sorry. I think we're good. I just wanted to ask a quick question about Thursday.
To me?
Yes.
Okay, yes,
Are you handling SAP on Thursday?
I am.
Okay, I just wanted to check in. I have an appointment on Thursday with my mother, but we have a case that got moved to Thursday's calendar, David Gervin, that we're sending an email to ask be put on the front end of the calendar.
Okay, is this the one that that we were working out the jail arrangement on? Or
This
I don't
was
know.
this was heard last Thursday in SEA, and Judge Williams reset it to this coming Thursday.
Oh, okay, so that didn't have.
Yeah, I don't think it's the same thing.
I was thinking of, we had one on the Orchid calendar at one point where
Yes, that has
Yeah.
been reset to May 3rd.
okay.
And it's a
so
hard
I-
date. My understanding is this is happening on May 3rd.
Well, it's gonna be happening with another judge because
Oh.
I'm not gonna be there on May 3rd,
Okay.
unfortunately. So if you all want to reschedule it for me, since I'm the one who did it, I'm gonna be on vacation that week.
Okay, I will reach out to Miss Redden. Can
Okay.
you, is it possible, could you offline send me the kind of the dates of your availability so I can?
Sure,
send them to Miss
I
Redden?
will. I'll do
Okay.
that too. And I've got the Orchid calendar in the morning, so I will get that to you tomorrow morning.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you all.
Okay, judge is on his way to you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.